Morning, Dad.
Good morning, Hal. Another great day in America.
Oh, wow, you're amped. Okay, we are on the Listen to Lou podcast.
And what's today's topic?
Oh, today's topic is going to be travel.
Okay.
So put your little travel hat on for me. Can you
travel as opposed to some millennials want to hear about an old man's travels?
Yeah, because now that you're gonna go with me.
I go with you. Yeah.
Can you name all the countries you've gone to?
Canada, Hungary, Czech Republic, Ukraine border, Ghana,
Most
Serbia,
of the Caribbean.
Serbia, Croatia, Montenegro. Then a bunch of islands in the Caribbean, and of course Mexico, and
part of South America, Costa Rica.
Never went to Costa Rica.
Italy.
Yeah, how could I forget Italy? Absolutely. Italy, Germany, right? Switzerland.
So pretty much all of the
good
continents,
places where good food is,
right?
And nice. Croatia is the best. But go ahead.
All of the continents except I think like Australia,
Asia, right, and
Asia.
Right.
Okay. Where was the first place you flew to, and how old were you?
Uncle Sam, our uncle, sent me to San Antonio, Texas when I was 20 years old. First time I was ever on a plane. First time I was ever west of the Hudson River.
Interesting. And where was the first place you vacationed, and how old were you?
Again, 20 years old. I got a free flight to San Francisco. And I stood in the YMCA in Haight-Ashbury and hung out with the hippies.
How was that?
It was a blast.
I bet.
Went up on the rooftop, watched all the goings on, hung out.
Yeah.
Never smoked dope, never touched drugs in my life. Watched all these silly people getting high, but it was a blast.
Have you ever traveled long term, meaning more than a month? And
yes, your mother and I went 6 weeks to Europe. We shipped our car over.
So here's what I was going to ask with that. How was it? How did you prepare? So a lot of people now are doing that. They're doing long-term trips. How did you prepare for that trip?
No internet, no computer, remember?
Right.
Shipped the car, read a couple of books on it, talked to some people, shipped the car to Bremerhaven, had maps, Bremerhaven, Germany, picked up the boat there, and then drove from there all the way to Budapest, ultimately to the Ukrainian border. And from there all the way down to Sicily. What
made you ship your car over versus renting a car?
Oh, I always wanted to try that. I thought it'd be fun. Always started talking about crazy American civic. So we shipped over this big Buick station wagon. We got to drive around with your mother's 6 suitcases in the back.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was fun. Everybody looking at pointed at us. That was hysterical.
Have you ever gotten sick or hurt during traveling?
No.
Okay. Why was it important to you that we traveled as kids?
Because I thought it was a great education. I think travel is so important. Young people today in America do not travel enough. They don't start traveling young enough. Travel is a great education. You get to meet people from other countries, look at other viewpoints, see other viewpoints. Our TV and news here is so slanted one way. You really got to get out and travel. Kids from other countries travel all over the place. Our kids don't.
So, one of the questions that I have is advice for people who want to travel more, because the cost of travel is high. And
save money, start at 18. Don't go to college for a year. Travel for a year.
How would you travel? I guess I'm thinking
young people today,
hostels.
Hostels. I stood in a hostel. Stay in a hostel. Save money.
Save money and travel.
Save money, and instead of spending it on computers and silly little boxes you put your fingers on, do some traveling.
Yeah. And so that would be the advice. And I think
and if you can work as you're traveling, it's fine. Usually off the books or type stuff like that, menial jobs, that helps too.
And so it sounds like when you're saying to travel, in my mind, you're thinking Europe or just anywhere.
Anywhere you want to go, but don't worry about staying in a 5-star hotel. Stay in a hostel.
Yeah.
Keep the cost down. Your object is to meet people and get involved in the culture where you're at. That's why Mom and I always rent the apartments when we go to Italy.
Right.
Because we immerse ourselves in what's really happening.
What do you think? And this probably is good for these kids that you're suggesting to go on travel. What do you think the perception is of Americans when you travel?
I think the perception of the country is that it's smaller than what it is. Most foreigners, young people, don't realize how big our country is,
Right.
size-wise. Because in Europe, you could go from the German coast inland, in maybe a day, go all across Europe.
In one day.
Just about. Now, you can't
That's
go to
amazing.
Russia, but you can go
Right.
quite a ways. In our country, they don't realize how far New York to California is. They have no concept. And their concept of America is American movies. That's the other problem. Their concept of Americans is what they see in American movies.
Yeah.
And it's such a distorted concept of who we are.
But I guess when they see Americans, do they have like a positive outlook on Americans, or
Well,
like
Well, some do. I wear
you've
my
traveled all over
So
the
I wear
place.
my American. We were in Italy. We wore my American flag pin on my jacket, and I was in a coffee shop, and the young guy in the coffee shop said to me in Italian how great it was that we're such a unified country that we wear our flag. In Italy, he said, we're still, even though we've only been unified for 100 years, he said, we're still not as unified as you are, and Italians wouldn't wear a flag.
Interesting.
Wouldn't wear their national flag around in their own country. Okay. So I thought that was interesting. And we were maybe also in Italy, some Israeli family, husband and wife with a bunch of kids with my American flag. And I might have had an Israeli flag on too, which I wear a lot of times. And there were discussions how great America is, the fact it was such a great ally of Israel.
Okay.
So we're in something like that. You get in conversations with people.
Yeah.
Now in Bosnia, they wanted to kill me because I was an American, but that was a little different.
So, I mean, that leads to like one of my questions. Were you ever scared for your life while traveling? I mean, you've traveled like Africa, Europe.
Only in Bosnia in '95, where the Serbs still had road checks up, and they thought I was a CIA agent. They put the Kalashnikov in my face and pulled the hammer back. Said they were going to kill me. I figured I was dead. That was my last day on this earth. And that happened twice in one night. And it was a young girl on the bus who was able to talk to them and explain to them that we weren't CIA agents, that we were people that may be looking to do business. And I said to her, ask them how much.
Yeah.
And we gave a couple $100 both times we got stopped. Then a couple of weeks later, the American troops got there, took all the Serb road checks down. So that was the only time I was ever afraid.
Like afraid for your
I
life.
thought I was
or
dead
whatever.
then. I thought I was done.
Right. Do you think, what is the difference of traveling since 9/11? Can you remember before and after?
Just there's the hassle at the airport. But as far as my traveling before and after that, it didn't matter to me.
Yeah.
Just the hassle at the airport. That's all.
So
the Millennium was interesting. People said,
I was going to ask you about the Millennium.
Why would you travel on the Millennium? The plane was going to crash. The computer's going to stop. I said,
right.
I said, I want to be on the streets of Italy. I want to be on the streets of Rome with all the folks when the clock strikes on the Millennium. That'll never happen again in my lifetime. It'll never happen.
Right.
And most people, it doesn't happen.
Yeah, true.
Okay, so your mother and I and my cousin and his wife were on the streets of Rome celebrating, drinking and partying, and then went to the Fountain of Trevi, watched all the naked people jumping in the water at 2 a.m. in the morning. It was a blast.
Where's your favorite place to go?
Oh, someplace I haven't seen yet, probably.
The
Baltics. I want to go to the Baltics.
Okay, so
favorite place to go?
Yeah, favorite place to go.
Northern Italy and Croatia.
Places you haven't seen yet that are on your bucket list.
The Baltics.
And other than that, do you have any desire to go to Asia?
No, none. And I love the food, but no desire to go.
Okay.
Maybe Vietnam, because the French/Asian food is so fantastic. Maybe Vietnam. Other than that.
So one of the things that I noticed from my own traveling, and I'm just curious about how you go about it, is Americans are often I don't want to try people's, the food. I'd rather go to McDonald's or how do you go about immersing yourself in wherever you go? You seem to really enjoy food.
You always make fun of me. You and your sister and your mother always make fun of me. I eat anything. So your mother and I have this beautiful cafe in Rome.
Yeah.
Having coffee, and up comes a stupid American girl with the backpack. Can you tell me where the McDonald's is? I was so mad, I wanted to scream. But no, you got to try it. You can't be afraid. If people are eating it, you're not going to die. If you try something, if they're eating it, they're alive.
Right.
You're not going to die if you try something different. How do you know if you like it or not?
How do you find like the hot spots, so to speak, of wherever you're at?
First of all, well, now you can go online, which is great, and find it that way. But you ask people, where's a good spot to eat, which isn't that expensive. Okay, where the locals go, no turistas.
Yeah, so you still do that when you're
Absolutely.
going to a place,
Wherever I go, I ask people, where's a good place to eat, where the tourists don't go.
and they tell you, and
Yeah,
normally it's
suppose I tell them
always
Plus, I tell them what I like to eat, and
yeah.
I said, where's the best place to get?
What do you think about so what I've seen is in other countries, waiting tables is a profession.
That's right. In Europe, it is. In this country, it's not, unfortunately.
So, I mean, what do you think the difference is with that? Like, with the two, like, how, I guess, do the wait staff interact when it's a profession versus, you know, hitting the clock, so to speak?
So they like talking to people, especially foreigners.
Yeah.
There's sometimes you ask them a question about something that's pleasant. Your mother and I ate in Einstein's Bagel the other day for a lunch.
Yeah.
And there was a young lady working there. You could tell she was pissed off that she had to work. She was young, about 19 and 20. She was slamming stuff, throwing stuff down. I was watching her trying to have my lunch. I said, this girl shouldn't be here. You know, if she's that unhappy, you know, let her go get a job somewhere else. But in Europe, you would see it because the owners wouldn't allow that.
Right.
They'd get rid of the person or put her in the back someplace. The people just have a different attitude.
Do you think that?
Plus, the young people, they like to talk to foreigners. I mean, they like to be different people. People in this country, you speak with an accent, they don't want to look at you. You know.
That is true.
Yeah, we're so used to being attuned. Just you ask for something different here. I find in Europe, when you go to a restaurant, the people that are working, they understand what's on the menu. I went to a bagel place. Again, I like the schmear with lox.
Right.
The girl says, "Ooh, you're gonna put that fish on the bagel? Ooh, this is the most expensive item on the menu." And this dopey kid is going, "Ooh, she works there."
Versus in Europe, where
that's great. Want to try this kind?
Right. They really take a passion to their job. Versus,
or they do a great job acting that they are. Yeah.
Right. True.
Yeah.
What do you think? So you've gone to, you said hostels.
Yeah.
I know I've stayed in hostels. Like, for somebody who's never traveled before, I mean, give some idea of like the difference, like hostels, condos, bed and breakfast, motel. Like you've done it all.
Okay, so you're traveling alone. What's the scenario?
Sure. Let's do. You're traveling alone, or this is your first time traveling. You're
alone.
Alone.
Man or woman?
Woman.
Okay, then you want to stay in a good quality hostel. Go online and check out the hostels.
Yeah.
And see which ones are rated really well, and stay there. I think it's a little bit safer for a woman going by herself. Or if you have money, then you would stay in a I'd say a 3-star or a better hotel. Because safety is an issue for women, that maybe more so than for men.
Right. What about like a couple?
Renting an apartment, the best.
And I feel like with Airbnb,
I know your mom and I use one of the sites. I forget which one now.
It's probably Airbnb.
Yeah, and we rented an apartment, and it was great.
There's no problems.
No, well, except the last time the police came to our door, I was in my pajamas, asking me all kinds of questions because the owner forgot to register us with the. This is because after 9/11, this happened last year.
Right.
The owner forgot to register us with the police department that we were in the apartment. In Italy, when you rent an apartment to somebody, you have to register their name and information with the police department. And they forgot to do it. So they were at 8 o'clock at night in my pajamas watching Netflix on my computer with your mother, and their doorbell rings, and it's 2 policemen from Lucca started asking me questions in Italian. I spoke a little of Italian, and then what I didn't, I said, un momento, blah, 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 in Spanish, but I called my friend in Hilton, who's from Lucca.
Yeah.
Thank God she was home. She talked to them. After that was a big laugh. We were all laughing and drinking espresso. So they weren't mad at us. They were mad at the owner.
Got it.
And I didn't have the owner's information. That's what they kept asking me for. And I didn't really have it.
Yeah, because again, it's through a website and.
No, we met the owner. His dad.
You just didn't have it.
No, because he didn't give us his name, address, and phone number. It was through the website. Yes.
Yeah.
But at that time, he might have been on the paperwork. I couldn't find it.
Okay. What about any funny stories that like ones that you are always telling people? Like this one time. I mean, do you have any like traveling stories that you feel like our golden nuggets?
God, there's so many I can't think right now. There's so many. I mean, yeah, Ghana. Oh, Ghana. Yeah, Ghana was great. So we went there. I went there with these two young African guys looking at me buying a business or doing something. So the person who was our host put us in this hotel, and he paid for the cost of the hotel. So I said, "Why did you put us there?" Well, he said, the guys that you're going with said that you like Italian food. And he said, "This is a hotel where all the Italian businessmen stay at." Now, you got to, we're in Africa, okay?
Right.
So we're at this hotel, and lo and behold, breakfast time, all the guys are there are Italian businessmen. So I asked one of the guys, "Why do you stay here?" He said, "You haven't eaten here yet?" I said, "No, just having breakfast." He says, "You'll see." So I think we had dinner that night, and the food was spectacular. So the next morning, I said to the waiter, I said, "Can you introduce me to the chef? I'd like to meet the chef here." Because I said, "The food is so good." So he said, "Okay," and he goes to the back, and out comes this kind of chubby young African woman. And I said, "I'd like to meet the chef." She said, "I'm the chef." I said, "Your food is spectacular." And she said, "I do my own buying. I buy all the produce myself." I said, "Where'd you learn how to cook?" She said, "I went to school in Ghana, and to a cooking school, and learned how to cook." I said, "You got it down perfect. Would you like to come to America and work for me and be my cook at my house?" And she said, "I would love to come to America. I've had so many offers, but she said, I have an invalid mother. And I cannot get a visa for her to come."
Wow, that's cool.
So here you are in the middle of Africa getting some of the best Italian food I ever had. From an African woman. Yeah. From Ghana.
That's awesome.
I know.
You've given us a lot of tips for traveling. I think, one of the ones that resonate is talk to the locals, right? See where they're going, where they're eating, what they're doing. Ask them, what are your tips for traveling?
For a girl or a boy?
Any tips, Dad?
For a girl, get a rich boyfriend. You start out with that, then it's so much easier. Okay. For a guy, get a rich girlfriend. Okay. If you haven't, either one of those don't work, then start working and saving your money prior to going and figuring out a budget, what it's going to cost you.
And so,
what's it going to cost?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Just any kind of trip.
Let's take a plane ticket, $900.
Yeah.
Okay. Apartment rental. How long are you going to stay?
A couple of weeks.
$1,600.
Okay. And just food.
Now, food, you can go to the market, buy your own food, and cook it back at the apartment if you want.
Yeah.
Look for restaurants.
Okay. Cool.
That's one country. Okay.
Right.
That number probably holds through for Spain.
Right.
Croatia would hold. Maybe Croatia a little bit lower. Plane fare might be a little bit more.
You guys, I think, used the train when you were in Europe. Do you recommend that? For somebody who wants to explore?
If it's one person, you would not allow to. If you cannot do the plane, you cannot do the train if you've got a lot of suitcases. Okay. It doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
No, just too difficult. And the people that ride the trains, just a pain in the ass. Okay. They're not nice folks.
But it might be a way to see.
And now the problem with the trains is you got all of the migrants coming from North Africa. They're all on trains causing all kinds of problems. So you got to be careful.
Okay. Well, this was travel.
That's it.
That's it.
Oh, okay.
Anything else? Again, travel? You got any last,
Man, my brain. Yeah, this travel is something we've done so much of. So my brain is, Croatia is just about, I think the Croatia. So if you rent a car.
Yes.
And it says gas on the side where the gas thing goes in, that means gasoline. It doesn't mean diesel.
All right.
So you pull into the gas station and you put diesel into the gas car.
Yeah.
Okay? The next thing you know, you're in this huge effing tunnel in Croatia, and the exit's a mile away, and again, okay, because the schmuck put diesel in instead of gas. So you pull into this cutout. Your mother was panic stricken. Pull into this cutout. Don't speak any Croatian, and there's a phone there.
Yeah.
Emergency phone. I go to the phone. And the only guy, because I know the Croatians speak German, so I get a phone, and there's a person, I said, kaput, auto kaput.
Yeah.
But they can tell them where the phone is, where you are. About 5 minutes later, up comes a tow truck with these two guys with the uniforms on, right? Nobody speaks English, all sign language. I explained to them benzene versus diesel. Everybody does it, apparently. So they tow us out to this parking area, dump us there, and the guy, only word the guy says to me, privat. I know that means private. So I'm trying to think, bro. So he means a private tow truck is going to come and get us.
Right.
30 minutes go by, we're panicking, no tow truck. It's getting dark, right? We got a little cell phone, could use it, but really didn't know what this. So the next thing you know, up comes Mr. Pravat with the tow truck. Puts the sucker on the hook, and we get in the tow truck with him. Don't speak English. We drive for about 45 minutes, get off the highway, and pulls us into his garage. Okay? And we go into the garage. It's a 3-bay garage. The father is there with his 2 sons and his daughter, right? Took one look at him. I says to him, well, we're good as gold. I said, because we have a family that owns a garage like that in New York, just like that.
Yeah.
I said, we're good. It's the Labrinis. We're good.
Yeah.
Then out comes the daughter who speaks perfect English. So she said, what did you do? I said, put diesels there. Everybody does that. She said, don't worry. We'll take care of everything for you. I said, I got to pay. No, she said, we'll pay the tow truck driver. Pulled the car. She says, you're hungry? Want something? She gave us coffee. They drained the gas tank, flushed everything, washed the car, paid the tow truck operator. Cost $135.
Wow. That would not
I'd have paid
happen.
$500 to say it was a bargain. In America, it would have been $1,000. You would have said thank you.
Yeah.
Croatia, the nicest people in the world. We're at the hotel, and we're going from the hotel. We're going down to Dubrovnik, right? It's a bus ride. So I said to the hotel clerk, I said, I need the change of a 20. I said, I had $100 bill. I said, I get some euros. I don't have a lot of change. He said, what do you want it for? I said, I'm taking a cab down. No, I can't. There's a bus. You take the bus. It only costs $1. Okay. I said, but I don't have any small BC. Here's the money. So he gives me $20, his own money out of his pocket. $20 in euros. He said, when you see me the next couple of days, you'll pay me back. That's the Croatian people.
That's cool.
Anybody else, we know.
So that should be on everyone's list.
Croatia, I would start with Croatia. Dubrovnik, yeah.
Okay.
All open, because people just feel Hvar, the island, that's where we went to. Hvar is nice.
Cool.
All right.
Thanks.
Bye.